All right, my friends, welcome to part 3 now. In this video, we're going to be learning all of the routines and different presentational ideas using PokeDex. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right, so the first thing that I want to see today is all of the different mind reading elements that we can use with PokeDex, right? So initially when I was coming up with this idea, I wanted to do some kid-friendly mentalism. And the best way to do that is using things that they're already familiar with. In this case, Pokemon, right? So all they're gonna do is they're gonna swipe through just like this, and you can show them all of the different Pokemon characters. You say, look, I have my own little Pokedex here. I have all these different Pokemon characters, and we're just gonna focus on the Generation 1, the original 150. But all I'm gonna do is have you pick one at random. So I'll put the phone face down. You're just gonna swipe your finger as much as you want, stop, and then I'm going to show you a Pokemon, and I'm not going to look, right? So I'm holding this up just like this, and I'm not able to see what they're looking at. I'm going to tell them, go ahead and focus now on, let's say, the image of that Pokemon. I want you to see the colors and all of that stuff. Interesting. I'm seeing like a lot of yellow. Is that true? Now, sometimes yellow means electric type, but sometimes it might also mean psychic type, because there's other different types that are yellow as well. So that's not, it's narrowing it down for me, but it's not 100% narrowing it down. So why don't you look at the Pokemon's name? Just below their image, their name should be there. And I'm gonna try to see if I can pick out the individual letters in that word, okay? I'm seeing that it starts with like a Z. Is that true? And does it end with like an S? Think of a letter somewhere in the middle of that word. I'm seeing like maybe like a P, or maybe it's a D. It's hard to tell because it could be facing either way. This isn't like a Spanish word, is it? I'm thinking like maybe like shoes. Like, is it shoes in Spanish, like zapatos? Yes, are you thinking of, well, not zapatos, but you have to be thinking of Zapdos, right? Boom, I was just able to reveal that one. Now, as you can see, you can reveal based on the image of the Pokemon, its name or its number, all three of those things there. Let's try again. This time, I'm gonna have the spectator swipe as much as they want to the left, just like this, and stop. And now they're gonna be at this one here. Now, instead of looking at the Pokemon's image or its name, let's try to see if I can figure out what it is based on its size, its dimensions, its height, and its weight. So go ahead and look at the height. I'm seeing, this one is, this is an interesting one. This one is like probably about my height. It's like between 5 feet, 6 feet tall, yes? But it doesn't weigh anything. Its weight is like less than a pound, isn't it? That is very interesting. You know what that tells me? That tells me that it is a ghost type Pokemon. Is that true? Is it a ghost type Pokemon? They'll say yes. Okay, so it's either Ghastly, Haunter, or Gengar. I'm not quite sure which one of those three it is. So I'm gonna have to ask you to look at its evolutionary stage. If you look just below the height and the weight and the typing there, there's either gonna be 1, 2, or 3 Pokeball symbols there. It's gonna tell me which stage in its evolution that it's in. I'm seeing 2 Pokeballs. Is that true? That means you have to be thinking about Haunter. And then, what do you know? It's Haunter, right? And you say, you know what? I want to do this one more time. So again, the phone goes face down. They're swiping to the left, right? They stop whenever they want. And now we have this last one here, right? I'm going to say, I want you this time to look down at the PokeDex entry. I'm going to try to figure out which Pokemon it is that you're thinking of based on its PokeDex entry. See a word in that entry that stands out to you. Maybe one with like 6 or even more letters in it if there are any. Are there any words like that in that PokeDex entry? Perfect. Focus on that word. Oh, it's an interesting word, isn't it? It starts with the letter T. It ends with an S. Ooh, it's a hard word to pronounce. I think it's like telekinesis. Is that true? It is telekinesis. That's the word that you're thinking of. Now here's the thing. That tells me that you're thinking of a psychic type Pokemon, right? But is it of the abracadabra alakazam psychics, or is it of the, you know, drowsy and hypno type psychics? Now I'm going to say this is also a stage 2 Pokemon because there's 2 Pokeballs, right? That means either Kadabra or Hypno. But I don't think it's Hypno because he uses hypnosis, not telekinesis. So you must be thinking of Kadabra, right? And then boom, what do you know? But Kadabra is the Pokemon that they're thinking of, right? So again, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do when it comes to the mind reading element. You can tell them what the Pokemon looks like, its number, its name, its typing, whether it's psychic, you know, earth, grass, fire, whatever, right? Its height, its weight, and then in the PokeDex entry, you're going to have them focus on a word that stands out. And what I usually like to say is, think of any word in that line that stands out, maybe one with like 6 or even more letters long. And the truth is that the long word in that sentence is going to be the only word that fits that description, because all of the other words in this sentence are going to be 5 letters long or less. You're not going to find any words in any of these Pokedex descriptions that are more than 5 letters long, except for the force word that you want them to think about, right? So really easy to do. That there is the long word principle, of course, by Ted Karmilovich. So if you want to learn more about using the long word principle, I highly recommend checking out Ted's work. The mother of all book tests does this exact same thing, but it puts it in an entire book. So you can have the spectator choose from a bunch of different long words, and then using Ted's method, you can figure out which of those words he's thinking of based on like hints and clues that the spectator gives you. It's a really cool concept. But that there, my friends, is how to perform some mind reading ideas using PokeDex. And of course, you can force 1 Pokemon, you can force 2, or you could force 3. In this instance, I chose to force 3 different Pokemon. But thank you so much for watching that video. Let's take a look now at the next one. All right, my friends, I want to show you something kind of cool using this Pokeball. Now, inside is a Pokemon prediction, but I don't want to open it just yet. Would you mind to do me a favor and hold on to that for safekeeping? Again, don't open it yet. We'll get to that in just a moment. Now, have you seen my Pokedex? It's pretty cool. It's like an encyclopedia for Pokemon. It's got all of the different Pokemon characters in here, right? Now, right now, we're just going to focus on the original 150, but all you have to do is just take your finger and swipe to the left, just like this. And whenever you're happy, we're going to stop at a random Pokemon. But like I said, it's going to be random. So let's go ahead and hold the phone face down, and you're going to swipe to the left as much as you want to. Stop whenever you're happy, and let's look and see where we landed. Ooh, Eevee, that's a really good one. Eevee's super cute, right? And again, you could have stopped at any of these, but you stopped at Eevee. So let's do it again. I'll put the phone face down. You swipe as much as you want. You can swipe 1,000 times if you want to, right? But don't, because we don't want to be here all day. Oh, you got Pikachu. That's a really good one too. He's like one of the main ones, I believe, right? And again, you could have stopped at any of these, but you stopped at Pikachu, right? So Eevee and Pikachu. Now, wouldn't it be cool if one of those 2 Pokemon that we chose is inside of this little Pokeball? That'd be a pretty cool trick, right? But I don't want to do a pretty cool trick. I want to do an amazing trick. That's why if you look inside the ball, you look really closely, you'll see Eevee dressed up in a Pikachu costume. So let's talk about the hybrid Pokemon now. Again, these are the ones that are going to force 2 Pokemon in one figure. We have Psyduck and Eevee to choose from. We have Pikachu wearing an Eevee costume, and we have Eevee wearing a Pikachu costume. Right? A lot of Eevees, right? But you can choose any of those. Now, we do have the Rowlet one as well, but we're actually not going to use this one just yet. We're going to get to the Rowlet one in just a bit. But all you have to do is just set up your Force album to force 2 Pokemon, either Pikachu and Eevee or Psyduck and Eevee, and then you can use any of the 3 of these, right? Now, another thing that you could do too, if you wanted to, is you could have all 3 of these figures inside of the ball, right? Just like this, enclosed. And you can just force Eevee, and you can say I have 3 figures in here And if any one of those three figures matched the one Pokemon that you chose, wouldn't that be cool? But of course, you know, it's they're all gonna have Eevee as the force, and you would force Eevee on the PokeDex, right? So 1, 2, 3, even Psyduck has a little Eevee inner tube. So it's like a silly little cute little way to do that. Now, you don't have to use the hybrid Pokemon. Let's just say you wanted to force Pikachu, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. You could have all three of those set up inside of the Pokeball, and then you can use the forcing system to force all three. Or if you just wanted to have one Pokemon inside of the ball, again, you can use that forcing system to just force the one Pokemon and then having it appear inside of the Pokeball. But that is just a really basic, really easy idea for a Pokeball prediction. Have you ever wanted to catch your own Pokemon? Well, now you can using this little PokeDex here, right? As you can see, we have all of these different Pokemon characters to choose from. And what I want you to do is to just swipe your finger to the left, just like this, as often as you want. And whenever you want to stop, you just stop. But we're going to hold the phone face down so you can get one at random, okay? Just go ahead and swipe as much as you want. Let's just say they stop here. Aw, Bulbasaur. That's a really cute one, right? He's often referred to as the one that no one ever picks. But I like Bulbasaur. He holds a special place in my heart, right? The seed on its back will grow incredibly big over time. It's a really, really cool Pokemon. But like I said, if you ever want to catch a Pokemon, all you need to do is choose the Pokemon that you want from the PokeDex app, and then you just catch the actual Pokemon, just like this, you see? Leaving me with a little Bulbasaur figure and no Bulbasaur in the image where he started, right? So really, really fun. You're gonna have a few different slides now to choose from. So for this, you can either force Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Pikachu. Those are the three blank slides that you have to choose from, right? And again, I just have my shortcut set up so that it's forcing two images. The first image that it's gonna force is going to be Bulbasaur, right? So if I open this up just like this, right? You see Electrode here. When I put the phone down and I bring the phone back up, now I have Bulbasaur. And now the second time that I do this, when I tilt the phone down and then I bring it back up, now it's gonna look like the Bulbasaur has vanished from the image. And to produce the Bulbasaur, all I have to do is just have this concealed in my hand, and I do a lot of pointing. I point like this. I use this hand to swipe through the images, right? But I'm just concealing the Bulbasaur in my hand as I'm doing all of this stuff. Then when it comes time to produce, you just tilt the phone down and you pretend to catch the Bulbasaur. I'm just gonna open my hand like this and then toss it up. Don't throw it on the floor. Probably the hardest part of this whole thing. Let's try that again, right? Produce, toss, catch, and then by the time you bring the phone back, the image will have changed so that Bulbasaur is no longer in the image, right? But that is how you can produce a Pokemon right out of the image. All right, my friends, I want to show you something kind of cool here using this PokeDex app that I have on my phone. All you have to do is just swipe through like this, and you can stop whenever you want. And whenever you stop, whichever Pokemon you land on, that's the one that we're going to use. And we're going to do this at random, so I'll put my phone face down. And they can swipe, 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 just like this, and they're going to stop at a random one. Oh, look at that. It's Eevee. Isn't that cute, right? And again, you could have stopped at any of these, but Eevee is the one that you chose. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm going to slowly come up here. Inside of my pocket, I have a Pokemon card, right? And this has been in plain view the entire time. And you could have stopped at any of the Pokemon that you stopped on that slide, but the one that you stopped at was Eevee, right? So again, a really, really easy production, this time using a Pokemon card. What you can do is you can take that Pokemon card and fold it into quarters and put it inside of your phone case underneath your phone. Now, of course, I'm always hesitant to be taking my phone out of the case, especially when I'm performing, because if I drop my phone, that's game over, right? So please be very, very, very careful with that. But you can have the card inside of the phone. Or This can just be a card that lives inside of your wallet, or you could be walking around with this card in your top pocket, and people will be asking, what's with the Pokemon card? You go, oh, that's pretty cool, right? Here, I'll tell you what, we'll get back to that in a moment. Have you seen my PokeDex app? And then you can go into this, and then you can reveal the Pokemon card that's in your pocket, right? So that is just another way to reveal a forced Pokemon. All right, my friends, I want to show you something kind of cool here using this Pokeball, and inside I have a Pokemon prediction. I'm going to have you hold on to that for just a moment, but please don't open it just yet. Have you seen my PokeDex app here? It's pretty cool. It's got all of these different Pokemon there, right? And you can really choose any of these Pokemon, which makes it really cool. You could choose one at random, right? In fact, let's go ahead and choose one at random. And the easiest way that I'm going to do that is I'm just going to have Siri show me a random Pokemon here in the PokeDex app, right? So, sorry, I mentioned her name and she started activating before I could get to it. So let's go ahead and try, right? And again, all of these are fair game. Let's see if she could find me a random Pokemon that we could use. It's going to be really cool. Hey, Siri.
Uh-huh.
Can you show me a random Pokemon using the PokeDex app, please? I'm really sorry. So I forgot to be specific. That's Rowlett. That's not what I wanted. I wanted it from the original 151. Like I mentioned earlier, we were only using the original one. That's my fault. I wasn't specific enough. Let's try it one more time, okay? Hey, Siri. Can you show me a random Pokemon from Gen 1 only using the PokeDex app, please? That's more like it. Pikachu. Everyone loves Pikachu, right? Now, here's the really cool part. You had this Pokeball here the whole time, right? Inside the Pokeball, go ahead and open it up. And if that prediction matches, that'd be pretty freaking cool, right? And that's why I have Rowlett. But not just that, it's actually Rowlett wearing a Pikachu hat. Right? So this is the other hybrid Pokemon that we talked about before. This is going to be the Pikachu Rowlett hybrid. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use the hey you know who, because I don't want her to start going off while I'm talking here, version of the shortcut, right? And remember how I said earlier you're going to name the shortcut? The way that I named the shortcuts to be able to do this is the first shortcut, I literally named it, can you show me a random Pokemon using the PokeDex app, please? That's what I named the shortcut, right? So let me go ahead and open my shortcuts here and I'll even show you, right? So shortcuts and let's see here, PokeDex, right? If you look, the name of the shortcut is literally can you show me a random Pokemon using the PokeDex app, please, right? And then I created another shortcut for the SIRI shortcut, right? And that one is called, can you show me a random Pokemon from Gen 1 only using the PokeDex app, please, right? So if I were to do that again, right? Let me go ahead and show you with this open what's going to happen, because it's basically going to do the same thing that the other shortcut does, only instead of using the orientation tracker to initiate the shortcut, it's going to use Siri, right? So let's try that one more time. Hey Siri, can you show me a random Pokemon from the PokeDex app, please? Okay, sorry, let's try that one more time. It actually tried to do a Google search. And you know why it tried to do a Google search? Because I didn't say the name of the Pokemon. I didn't say the name of the shortcut right. Make sure you say the shortcut verbatim the way that you have it written, okay? Let's try that one more time. Hey Siri.
Uh-huh.
Can you show me a random Pokemon using the PokeDex app, please? You see? You see how it erased everything and then put them all back? It erased everything except Rowlett and then put all of the images back, right? So what it did was it forced the Rowlett image. Hey Siri, can you show me a random Pokemon from Gen 1 only using the PokeDex app, please? And since I said it that specific way the second time, it did the force to force Pikachu the second time because I programmed that version of the Hey Siri, in case you didn't go off, shortcut to force Rowlett and then to force Pikachu, right? So really, really simple. For that specific shortcut, you do need to have one shortcut per force. It will not allow you to force multiple Pokemon within the same shortcut. So all you do is just create two shortcuts. But the really cool thing about it is you don't have to have a home button for those or anything. They just stay in your shortcuts folder in your shortcuts app. And when you say, hey, you know who, it'll activate the shortcut for you automatically. So you don't have to go find it and click on it. That's just another really cool way to force a Pokemon. So you've heard of Juan Tamare's Mnemonica, right? But have you heard of Michael O'Brien's Pokemonica? That's right, this mofo is stacked. I know it looks like they're random, like they're not in order, right? It's like 101, 50, 32, 56, 3, 19, 22. Like they're not in PokeDex order. They're in a random shuffled order, but they're actually not really randomly shuffled. They're actually stacked in a really fun way. Do you guys remember the original Pokemon Kanto League series? At the end of every single episode, you did something called the Poke Rap, right? Where you would sing all of the different Pokemon's names. This is stacked in the Poke Rap song that would play at the end of every episode, right? So all you have to do to know this stack is sing the Poke Rap in your head, right? Electro, Diglett, Nidoran, Mankey, Venusaur, Rattata, Pharaoh, Pidgey, Seaking, Jolteon, Dragonite, Ghastly, Ponyta, Vaporeon, Poliwrath, Butterfree. Catch 'em, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon. Bomb, right? So it's stacked like this throughout the entire PokeDex app all the way through. Now, that's 150 Pokemon to memorize. So you don't have to know the entire stack all the way through. I would just recommend memorizing one verse. And what can you do with this? Well, it's very simple, right? Let's just say I wanted to memorize a verse somewhere in the middle. Let's see. So this one here is one of the verses somewhere in the middle, right? Zubat, Primate, Meowth, Onix, Geodude, Rapidash, Magneton, Snorlax, Gengar, Tangela, Golding, Spearow, Weezing, Seal, Gyarados, Slowbro, right? So that is, I know you're enjoying me singing this. That is a verse somewhere in the middle. So what I can do is I could set one of the shortcuts up so that I can say, you know, normally I would have you go through like this and I would do it face down, but I don't want you to do it face down. I want you to do it, you know, live just like this. And maybe I have it so that Zubat is the force. So when the phone goes face down and comes back face up, Zubat is the one that's showing, right? So I'd be like, yeah, like a lot of times I do this face down, but I don't want to do this face down. So I've just forced Zubat now. But Zubat's not the Pokemon that I want them to think of. I'm going to tell them, go ahead and swipe as much as you want until you get to a Pokemon that you like. And they're going to just swipe like this. And usually after like 7 or 8 swipes, they're gonna stop on one, right? And all you have to do is just count the number of times that they swiped with their finger. And you're gonna do the Poke Rap in your head until you get to that number of times that they swiped, right? So for example, right, so if we're here on Zubat and they were to swipe 1, 2, 3, 4, or actually, so it'd be starting with Zubat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So let's just say they landed on Magneton and that's 7, right? You're just counting in your head. Zubat, Primeape, Meowth, Onix, Geodude, Rapidash, Magneton. 7, right? So you have that in your mind. So now you're letting them choose one at random, or not even at random. They get to choose where they stop while they're watching the swiping happen, right? And you're just doing the PokeRap in your own mind, and you're just counting it as they're swiping. How many times did they swipe? You say, okay, cool, go ahead and memorize that. And while they're memorizing the name of the Pokemon and what the Pokemon looks like, you're just like, you know, doing the PokeRap in your head until you figured out which Pokemon it is that they're thinking of, right? So that's what I like to call Pokemonica, using a stack so you could figure out exactly which Pokemon that they're thinking of. Now, I would put the PokeRap in this actual video here, but I tried that before, and YouTube didn't even just demonetize the video, they actually restricted it so that I couldn't post it at all. So what I'm gonna have you do is just go on YouTube and just type in Pokemon original PokeRap in YouTube, and it's gonna pull up the original PokeRap and you can watch it. If you go on Google and you search for the lyrics, you'll have all the lyrics laid out so you can memorize it. And again, you don't have to memorize the entire thing, just one verse. And each verse is gonna be between 10 and 12 Pokemon that you're gonna have to remember in order. Of course, if you can memorize more than just that one verse, you're gonna be setting yourself up for more success, but it's completely up to you how many that you think you can memorize. For me personally, I think one verse is probably as much as I can memorize and be competent on the spot to be able to perform, but that is up to you.